You know that feeling of waiting for a package and it feels like time itself slows down just to mess with you? For the past 3 days, I've basically been Joe Goldberg from You, stalking my Amazon delivery drivers if he had the secret to eternal happiness hidden in the back of his truck. And it was all worth it because here it is, the Shure SM7B. This moment is weirdly nostalgic for me because, fun fact, this was actually the first microphone I had ever owned. Back when I was first getting started with music, this mic has gotten me well over 12 million streams and has generally been my saving grace. But around 6 months ago, I made a pretty big decision and actually sold my SM7B. A friend of mine arguably needed it a bit more, and I was like, why not pass it on? In exchange, I decided to switch it up and got myself a Neumann TLM 102. Since then, I've spent countless hours recording, mixing, and tweaking, figuring out what exactly makes these two microphones tick. And now having an SM7B back in my hands, it feels like I'm reconnecting with an old friend. It's familiar and it brings back such good memories. But here's the thing. These two microphones couldn't be more different, and that's what this video is about. Both the SM7B and the Neumann TLM 102 are what I consider freshman class microphones. Don't Google that term, I made it up. What I mean by that term is that they're both entry-level professional microphones that give you studio-like quality without breaking your bank. But here's the kicker, while they're relatively in the same price range and cater to the same audiences, they couldn't be more different. They shine in completely different ways. So if you're a musician, podcaster, or just an audio geek who likes nerding out over microphones for some reason, this video is for you. Let me also preface this by saying that I'm not some sort of tech wizard. I'm not gonna bore you with charts of frequency rate responses or pull out color-coded graphs of decibel gains. That's just not my style. What I can do is give you a perspective of someone who's lived with, worked with, and relied on both of these microphones. I know their strengths, their quirks, and which design flaws make them outshine each other. Also, to let you know what microphone I'm using at any given time, I'll throw a little thing in one of these corners that'll let you know. This is a side-by-side comparison using the SM7B, and this is a side-by-side comparison using the Neumann TLM 102. Just a random disclaimer, I'm not sponsored or promoted by either of these companies or their microphones. This is all based on personal preference and what I've seen with my experiences over the years. There's not going to be any affiliate links in the bio, so don't go clicking on them. If you want one, pick them up on Amazon or Sweetwater. Don't go on eBay though. There's a lot of scams of a lot of different kinds of microphones, and you're probably gonna get a scam version of the microphone you actually want. I almost made a video on that. There's like $150 Shure SM7Bs going up on eBay, and I was like, what's up with this? I don't know. Comment if you want me to make a video comparing scam SM7Bs to real ones. I feel like that'd be kind of fun. Neumann is a German company known for their industry standard quality sound. Arguably, their best release and most essential to their catalog was the U87, used by artists like Drake, Alicia Keys, Kurt Cobain, Ed Sheeran. I could go on. In 1997, Neumann released the TLM 103, which was designed to be a more affordable version of the U87 while still providing that signature quality sound. And then 12 years later, they made an even cheaper version and threw it in a cardboard box. The purpose of the 102 was to give project studios the chance to achieve high quality recordings. It has a very flat sound next to other mics like the TLM 103 and focuses more on mid-range dynamics instead of low end. The TLM 102 is a large diaphragm condenser microphone. It uses a cardioid pattern to receive sound, which is fancy music people talk for. It picks up sound from the front and not from the back. It's super small, can fit in the palm of my hand, and packs a punch. It does require phantom power though, something you might want to note if you're looking to purchase this. I have a Scarlett 2i2 with built-in phantom power, so I am all set. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the pros. This microphone is so detailed. The biggest selling point for me on this microphone was its attention to clarity. It's the kind of mic where you can hear every nuance, every subtlety, and you don't need to be right on top of it to get a good sound. And that's super important, especially if you're recording something like acoustic guitar where that fine detail matters the most. Another huge pro for me is the range of gain you get from using this microphone. It's an absolute beast with handling louder sources. I know if I wanted to track something like drums, I could just turn down the gain and match it so I can get those quality dynamics. For me personally, the best use I've found for this is for softer, more delicate music. Recording live guitar on this microphone just feels like magic. Every transient, every string pluck that comes through, it's beautiful. Its natural ability to capture warmth just makes me want to use it over and over and over again. And then the vocals, of course, sound gorgeous on this thing. I find his best performance in softer, more intimate moments when you're trying to highlight a vocalist's capabilities. The high ends in this thing are absolutely stunning. They're super crispy and not too harsh, so you don't need to throw a de-esser on it right out the box. And what makes it even more impressive is that it comes packaged with that iconic Neumann sound. But instead of paying paying thousands and pulling out another line of credit for a U87, you're getting that for a fraction of the price with the TLM 102. Alright, now that I'm done glazing Neumann, let's talk about the cons. First off, this mic is sensitive. Like, more sensitive than hecklers at a stand-up comedy routine when politics get brought up. I can't count the amount of times I've had to retrack a perfect take because I accidentally moved in my desk or squeaked my chair too loud. It picks up everything. And here's the kicker. The 102 doesn't even come with a shock mount. If you want one, that'll set you back another $200, and let's be honest for a second, you're buying the TLM 102 because it's the most affordable Neumann option. I say as I bump my pop filter. Speaking of money, let's talk about that big old price tag. This mic will cost you around $650 to $700, and that's just for the basic silver version. But if you want your mic in black, to match your aesthetic, of course, that'll run you another $100. And that's just for the microphone itself, by the way. No shock mount, no pop filter, no fancy accessories. Just a microphone and a cardboard box. The sound quality is top tier, no doubt about it, but all of these added costs no longer make this a DIY affordable microphone. And then there's the issue of untreated environments. This mic does not play well with anything less than pristine acoustics. It's a sensitive mic that cares about others and wants to include them into your song by recording entire conversations going on in the room next to you. That level of detail can be amazing, for sure, but it's also pretty obnoxious. If you've got an AC unit humming around in the background, you'll hear it, so make sure that you tune it in key before you start recording. It's not a forgiving mic when it comes to background noises, which makes this option less ideal unless you've done some serious soundproofing first. In 1973, Shure wanted to make a studio microphone based off the Unidyne 3 capsule. The results birthed the SM57, SM58, and the SM7. No B for the time being. The thing I applaud Shure on the most is their attention to detail. Rather than reinventing the wheelhouse each time they're making a microphone, they choose to fix or figure out what can be improved from their current model. I feel like that's a great trait for a company to have. Are you listening, Apple? I don't want AI on my phone. I want my damn headphone jack back. The SM7 was a full-range microphone with universal intentions and was primarily used for radio and broadcasting. It had a flatter and wider response than the SM57 and 58 and had these little switches on the back which controlled frequency cuts through filtering. And then Michael Jackson used it. Engineer Bruce Sweden is credited as giving Jackson the SM7 to record his album Thriller in 1982, exposing its true potential to a wider audience of musicians. In 1999, Shure released the SM7A, which included a built-in shock mount, and then 2 years later dropped the SM7B, the legendary mic that we all know today. The biggest difference between the two is that the SM7B has a built-in pop filter to protect from plosives. If you've ever seen a musician promoting their music while carrying this microphone and swinging it around their head, now you know how they do it. Now let's talk about some of the pros of the SM7B, because this mic truly earns its legendary status. First off, the build quality of this thing is absolutely top-notch. The SM7B is practically indestructible. In the 5 years I've owned it, it's endured more trauma than I care to admit. We're talking 3 moves, multiple cross-country trips, and an embarrassing amount of drops. And despite all that, it still works as if I had just pulled it out of the box. Well, the old one. This one I literally just pulled out of the box. If you're the kind of person that's rough with your gear or just genuinely wants a product that's going to last you for a long period of time, this is definitely a microphone to look into. One of my favorite things about the SM7B is how good it is at rejecting excess room noise. I'll never forget one night I had like 3 or 4 friends over while I was trying to record. They were laughing, talking, hooting and hollering, the whole 9 yards, and somehow I was still able to manage getting perfect takes without any sort of interference coming from this microphone. That's not the ideal setup, of course, but it just goes to show how well this microphone performs with isolating your own voice. If you've got background noise, loud roommates, or just an untreated space, this is a really good mic. Unless you're recording in an empty parking garage, you're not going to need any sort of room treatment with this thing, which is an amazing plus in my book. And then there's the actual sound itself. The quality you get out of the SM7B is just legendary. It has this warm, smooth quality that makes your vocals roll off like butter. If you have a deeper voice or kind of that mid to low range, this mic is going to make you sound incredible. But this microphone isn't just for one vocal style. The versatility here is wild. I've used this mic for lo-fi, to rap, to trap, to hip-hop, to hyper-pop, to rock, and it handles them all beautifully. If you're an indecisive musician who likes experimenting like me, this is definitely the microphone to go for. And finally, let's talk about price. At around $350 to $400, depending on where you shop, honestly, this is a steal for what you're getting. This is a studio grade professional sounding microphone that punches way above its price point. If you're a musician starting out and trying to get an edge over the competition, this is definitely the mic that will make you stand out. Now let's get into some of the drawbacks of the SM7B, because as beautiful as this mic is, there are some things to consider if you're looking to buy one. First off, and this is no secret, the SM7B is gain hungry. This thing chews through gain like a college student chews through top ramen during finals week. While technically you don't need the extra gain to get this mic to work, it does make things like tracking delicate vocals really hard. For the best performance, you're going to want to pair the SM7B with some sort of preamp. And depending on the model, this can run you anywhere from $100 to around $150. Most people will recommend the Cloud Lifter, which is an amazing option. I personally use the Phantom Fethead, which cost around $75. Alternatively, Shure themselves actually came up with a solution, the SM7DB. You get it? Like decibel. This updated version of the iconic Shure microphone comes with a preamp built into it. If you don't mind spending a bit extra, it solves this problem right out the box, but it will set you back about $100. Next up, we need to talk a bit about the sound profile. While the SM7B's low tones and warmths play into its strengths, the high ends are kind of its weakness. It's definitely lacking compared to other microphones that I've seen at around this price range. This is especially noticeable in like a side-by-side comparison with the Neumann TLM 102 with those sparkling crisp highs. Again, the SM7B is very warm and textural, but it lacks in that high-end department, so you're not going to get those soft, airy vocals. Another drawback for me, and this might just be me being nitpicky, but it's the weight of this thing. The SM7B is so heavy, it's destroyed more mic stands than I actually care to admit. Before I switched to a proper boom arm, I was using multiple stand-up mic stands, and it was so top-heavy that every day I recorded, I was in fear it was going to topple over. Even with the sturdier setup now, I feel like this mic positioning is still a hassle to take care of. And while we're on the subject of quirks, let's talk about the connector placement. This again might just be a personal gripe, but I find that the connector cable for the SM7B is in a really inconvenient spot. Every time I go to unplug my XLR cable, I'm in fear that I'm going to accidentally twist it or damage it in the wrong way. Again, not a deal breaker in my book, but definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you're one that's really nitpicky like me. Okay, so we've gone through the weeds of both the Neumann TLM 102 and the Shure SM7B, and you've been able to hear them both throughout this video. And my choice after comparing and contrasting the two, I don't have one. You thought this was gonna be a cut and dry YouTube video? I'm about to get introspective as Let's be real for a second. Both of these mics are fantastic choices, but they cater to different needs. The TLM 102 is delicate, crisp, and attention to detail is absolutely poignant. Its more intimate moments can be highlighted with treated environments, and it's great for anywhere where clarity is the highlight of the song. That being said, the mic is a total diva. If you're not in the perfect recording environment, it'll let you know very loudly in the background of your audio file. And let's not forget that price tag, which, adding on additional features, makes you second guess your life choices, telling your parents that you want to go off and be a musician. That felt like projection on my part. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that stray. On the other side of the spectrum, the SM7B is a tank. It's built like a fortress. It's versatile, can handle any environment, and you can use it to bludgeon hate comments back into the true crime corners of YouTube that they came from. Without the added expense of a cloud lifter, this thing will eat up at your range, but it's an overall sound mic that's built to last. So here's my takeaway. If you have minimal room space and great treatment and are looking to spend a little bit extra for that high-end quality, the Neumann TLM 102 is probably your best bet. But if you're looking for a mic that's more versatile and can handle whatever life or you throw at it, the SM7B is probably your best option. At the end of the day, it all revolves around personal preference and seeing what you actually need from your microphone. These are both fresh out the box microphones with that pro level quality sounds that will get you closer to sounding like a real studio without breaking your bank to do so. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Maybe you learned something. If you're still on the fence, don't worry. Me too, bro. Just do what I did and buy both of them. If you've got any questions or need info on anything, hit me up in the comments. Also, thank you to the one guy that commented that I should record in 30 frames. I saw your comment and I'm trying it out now, so I hope you like the video quality. Never stop creating, keep pushing those boundaries, and I will see you in the next video.